Hi everyone, my name's Sam Michaels. I'm a Toronto-based employment lawyer. I'm here to talk to you a little bit about constructive dismissal. So what is this term, constructive dismissal? Kind of break it down a little. So basically, this is a legal term that deals with situations where the job has been so significantly changed that it's the same as if the person was fired. So what does that mean? We have all the time job situations where the employer was trying to push out or diminish the role of an employee, either because a dispute arose, maybe they don't have the money to pay that employee anymore, maybe they want to let them go, but they're worried for whatever reason about saying, you're fired. So what does the employer do? They send the employee to a new location. They reduce their pay rate. They start canceling shifts. They make all these little changes to the employment. It's in the hope that that will either force the employee to leave or to just give up on the job or accept the diminished role. So the courts have recognized this situation is really unfair, and they've said that when this happens, when the job is so significantly changed, when it's basically like the old job didn't even exist anymore, the courts have said that when that happens, it's basically the same as if someone was fired. So now we can get back to that term, constructive dismissal. So it's constructive because we're building it up. We're taking these different events and we're putting them together and saying in combination, these events add together to be a dismissal. Right? And a dismissal is another word for a firing or a termination. So what you have is a situation where the employee wasn't actually fired. They weren't told, you're fired, you're being laid off. But the job was so changed that it's basically the same as if they were fired from the old job and then given a new job. So some of the examples of this I touched on a little bit, but it would be, let's say you're hired for a job, and when you're hired you're paid $35 an hour, and then after a year the employer comes to you and says, hey, we're now going to pay you $15 an hour. And that's a really substantial change. If, let's say, the employer goes, you're paid $35, but it's been a bad business year, we got to drop you down to $32, probably not a constructive dismissal. But when we're talking about those more extreme changes, a real change in the pay rate, or maybe something like you're working 40 hours a week and then all of a sudden you're being scheduled for only 20 hours a week. Those types of major changes will probably be a constructive dismissal. If you're in that position as an employee, you can make the decision to walk away from the job, to leave, and then make a claim as if you were fired. Except instead of making a claim as a termination claim, you make it as a constructive dismissal claim. If you find yourself in this type of situation, you're working a job, things have been really switched up on you, you think, maybe I was constructively dismissed, I would strongly recommend speak with an employment lawyer. Even in a basic 30-minute consult, you can get a good idea of whether this type of situation is really going to apply for you. To contact a lawyer, you can go through the Law Society of Ontario referral service. They offer any lawyer that's on their roster will offer a free 30-minute consultation. It's a great way to get started and just get an idea of if this applies, because you don't want to quit the job and then find out that it wasn't really a constructive dismissal. So overall, a lot to think about in the job situation. If you're in that position, probably best to speak with a professional and they can guide you from there.